of us rebuilding the motor or the cylinder head. Okay, so what are we doing today?
Alright, so pretty much we can strip the cylinder head off, take the exhaust off, take the radiator off, and then cylinder head's going to come off. Once cylinder head is off, we're sending it through to engineers, and then they're going to do their magic there.
I was able to actually get a cylinder head, a spare cylinder head, from I think he's a follower.
Jason.
Yeah,
he spoke to me last night.
Big shout out to Jason, bro. Extreme huge shout out to him.
Awesome,
so,
man.
We're going to be obviously salvaging some valve and stuff off that head for whatever we might need over here.
So once we go through to engineers, he'll give us a diagnosis, say to us, listen, this is the amount of heads, valves that we need. This is what we've got to do. Maybe do some porting as well. And then, we'll just take it from there.
There we go. So now we're going to be dropping the head, and I'll show you guys exactly how that's done. And I might have a little surprise for you guys later on in this video.
What? In course he's buying us lunch.
Yeah, that's not an issue. So how difficult is it to drop a motor on a bike?
It's not that bad, especially if you've done it 100 times.
Oy. I'm saying like this content stuff, I'm going to make it like a chicken, you know?
Yeah.
The only thing that's not eaten on a chicken is the feathers. Everything else, boy, you make plan with it. And then whilst going through the bike, was there anything else that you saw that was slightly concerning?
Nothing major. The bracket for the oil cooler on that side, the air was broken off. And, other than that, nothing else that's too major. Just small TLC items here and there.
Yeah.
But nothing too concerning as yet.
Okay. Do you also believe that riding a motorcycle is a rich man's game?
Yeah, for sure.
So right now it's no longer one ride, one round. While it's still stuck. No more one ride, one round. It's actually insane how expensive these bikes are, but there's so many cable ties, even from factory. It's, I don't understand why.
It's the easiest and most cost-effective way to keep something in place, I guess.
Right. But if you're paying like 300, 400k, if not 100 and something k for a bony, I think the last thing that you want to see is a cable tie.
True.
There we go. And that's the radiator.
Radiator,
Yeah. So I might just need to clean this out a bit, but other than that, I think this radiator looks sharp. Luckily the radiator guard tried to protect some of the fins. This might take just a bit of a toothpick and just trying to line these out a bit, but it doesn't look too concerning. So now you're taking off the head. The headers.
Yeah.
Much more different are stock headers from these aftermarket headers?
Look, in terms of headers, just the header side of it, BMW's headers are quite well developed.
Yeah.
And the aftermarket headers may be a little bit lighter, but especially on the newer BMWs, the headers are pretty well developed, Well, up until you get to the point of the catalytic converter, but you know, from the port down to the cat, they're pretty well manufactured,
Right. So I keep telling people that, you know what, especially on a road bike, it's not, I wouldn't actually just go and buy like full system and stuff like that. I'll probably just cut off the cat and then just, you know, weld it up there and then just put on a link pipe and the slip-on.
Slip-on, yeah. Yeah, it's...
So some people kept asking me, bro, is it worth actually fixing the head and stuff like that on a bike, or just rather better to sell it as is? And I said, I honestly believe to a point that's not worth it to that point, to that extent, depending obviously the extent of the damage on the motor. But if it's like really like extremely damaged and then you have to buy a whole lot of parts just to fix it, I don't think it's worth it. It's rather better just to sell the bike as is and just go look for something else. But because I want to record content, I just have to fit the bill for all the stuff.
There is a way to get it out.
Oy,
And there is your exhaust.
I wonder how's the carbon looking on that. Doesn't look too bad.
It's quite white, which means it's running lean.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that is not good though.
Now, you ultimately you want to achieve that sort of coconut brown color.
Oh yeah, and the exhaust system. Oh yeah.
On your plugs, going through the exhaust.
So it was running lean.
Yeah, very lean, bro.
When running lean, it means it wasn't mixing air and fuel correctly, basically.
Yeah, so basically too much air.
It was getting too much air, right? Okay. Yep.
All right, now we're going to start taking the head off. I just want to take your thermostat housing off over here. And then take the NOx sensors out from the back of the head. And then we're going to move on to this side where we'll take the timing chain cover off, take the tensioner out, loosen the camshafts, and then shafts out, tensioner out, and then we can loosen the head bolts. And then we're off.
Perfectos. And then some people would like to know the experience that you have with motorcycles and rebuilding and fixing and wadi. Maybe just...
So yeah, 15 years in the game. Started off at Harley Davidson, did my apprenticeship at Harley Davidson. Was there for about 5 years. From there moved on to Bikers Warehouse. Did bronze level training for Suzuki over there. And thereafter did my Master Tech level through KTM and Husqvarna, South Africa. Did a little bit of Honda training as well. Moved on to BMW, got BMW certified. And yeah, thereafter just been doing my own thing.
There we talking. Now we're going. So if guys want you to help you, if guys want you to help them on their bonies, how can they get in reach with you?
Guys, pretty simple. Dino's Motorcycle Works. You can find me on Facebook, Dean Anthony de Klerk, and just hit me up on WhatsApp, 061 891 0934.
Done. Or you guys can just hit me up, then I'll just add a bit of a referral fee. How's the thermostat looking?
It looks good, bro. It looks good. Even if I look down, like, you know, into the thermostat housing, you know, there's no white corrosion or anything on there.
Yeah.
It looks healthy, you know.
Nice.
You've kept coolant in it, which is the good thing.
Nice.
Because the minute you start just using water, which mistakenly a lot of guys do.
Yep.
Yeah, then you start getting that corroded build up, and then you start getting blockage inside the radiator and all types of things.
Because normal tap water has a lot of chemicals and stuff that they add into it. So the best thing is just to buy bottled water. That's what I've been using, and mix it with the coolant. Depending what kind of coolant you use. But yeah, if you have to mix it properly. If you can just use the coolant by itself, even better that way. So with a job like this, is there no need to disconnect the battery?
You should be essentially disconnecting the battery for everything that you do.
Oh.
That is just supposed to be normal procedure, but it's only me working here, so I'm not going to be switching anything on and swinging any buttons and doing any of the likes, you know.
So that's the first head bolt. Well, yeah, on the head.
Yeah, that mounts onto the frame.
Okay.
When we do the timing chain and tensioner, BMW sells it as a complete kit.
Yeah, I
So
saw that.
It's the crank gear, the cam gears, tensioner, and then timing chain.
Yeah. Oh, so with the gears.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's one complete kit.
Yeah, that's the one that costs, I think, like, what's that? 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, 15,000 rand.
Something along.
Something along them lines.
Yeah.
This is what added the extra weight that made you guys get me.
Get you the upgraded cap, eh?
The tensioner, yeah.
The
The silver one.
Yes, the silver one.
So what was the deal with BMW with this tensioner as compared to the silver one?
So basically the difference between the black one and the silver one is So you see the depth of that?
Yes.
The silver one is a lot
Okay.
so that means that it pushes the tension a bit more in
Makes sense.
to give the belt, I mean the chain a bit more tension.
Yeah. Okay. So we need a silver one as well.
You can have a look at what's going on inside here.
Focus up in. I manually lock it yourself. I don't have those case protectors.
Yeah.
The
These
the
are
guides.
the rails,
Yeah,
the guides. And then there's your crank, there's your intermittent gear. So the crank gear, when the crank turns there, turns the chain, turns the cams.
Makes sense. And I so Mungi said. And I think as soon as we get the head off as well, no, the cams, I think we need to show the guys where that oil was where it was leaking from and getting into the spark plug.
I'll actually show you now once we get these cam holders down.
Yeah, a lot of people kept saying that no, it's the. I said, hey. Last time I checked, you work at the office, you do finance.
Yeah.
So you must just keep quiet, please. As a technician, it's really hard to have nice hands, ne?
You can forget about that. If you want to become a mechanic, you kiss your hands goodbye. There's two little bolts that hide away underneath there.
With your technical experience, which bike has been the most reliable, according to you, that you've noticed?
In my opinion, I'm gonna have to go with the bulletproof Suzuki K6, K7, K8.
If there's another technician that wants to fix my bike, please let me know. Yeah.
Those are reliable, man.
All right. How far can one judge the reliability of a motor compared to how the owner treats it?
How far can one judge the reliability of a motor? Look, at the end of the day, it boils down to maintenance. I know of guys that have got older bikes, but that do all changes at like every 5,000.
Makes sense.
When something goes on the bike, they attend to it immediately.
Makes sense.
So, and look, dude, it's simple. If you abuse your bike and you ride it like a hooligan and you are redlining it the entire time and it's standing still and you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have troubles, bro. It's like anything. You don't look after it properly, it ain't gonna last.
That's why I'm highly thankful that, you know what, I understand that this bike, the head is now giving issues, but best believe, it's not even best believe, you guys must know that it's close to 80,000 kilometers. So I do think that this was bound to happen. Plus, I'm not the kind of guy that would stand there and just redline the bike. I'm not the kind of guy that would, do stupid things. Yes, I do wheelie, but I think that they did compensate that whole thing when designing this bike. And I do race the bike, which is actually what the bike is meant for. So it's not like I'm doing something that it wasn't meant to do. Unlike standing there and playing on the red line and popping and listening to the exhaust pipe and yeah, but anyway. I think you can see that with all the new RRs with how much issues they're giving, because a lot of guys, when they buy the new RRs, they don't break it in properly. And then if it doesn't get broken in properly, under 10,000 kilometers, not even 10,000, under I think 3,000 kilometers, it's already giving issues.
The thing is also with the bike is your tolerance levels. If you take a normal car, okay, your clearances and everything is so much more bigger. Your tolerance levels are so much more wider and there's so much more room to play with. But let's use a RR for example. Your tolerances, your specifications are so minimal and so tight because it is designed for sport. It is designed to race. It's designed for that. So, when you are putting it under so much load all the time, those tolerances become less, and then you have things like valves pulling, receding into a head or stuff like that. And I mean, this thing revs out 16,000 RPM. That's a hell of a lot of RPM, bro.
Right? Yeah. And then you add bad maintenance on it, and you add...
Yeah. If you look at a, can we say a race car or even a drag bike, they do 2-3 runs and then bikers back to the workshop for motor rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the nature of it. It's like I explained to you, the harmony between reliability and performance. You either have performance or you have reliability.
Either or.
It's up to you. If you want reliability, buy a big boy Velocity.
Simple.
If you want to go fast, comes with the price.
Yeah, heavy.
So the O-rings that leak are those bad boys over there. Alright, so the oil obviously that's bouncing around in the cylinder head over here runs past this and then runs down into those channels where the spark plugs go. So let's take this one off, and that O-ring is stuck on there. You can see the oil that's laying inside there already.
There shouldn't be oil there,
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that was the one that had the leaking.
Yeah, it was.
The oil on the spark plug, remember? Oh.
Oil?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Okay, so where this all comes from is, so obviously where these rings are, for this to go into the cylinder head, for the spark plug to go in, there's gaskets around there. So there's one gasket here for these two and one gasket there for those two.
Yeah.
But if you have a look inside there,
you can't really see here.
You can see that the oil has been, so when it leaks around there, when the oil gets fed to the cylinder head, it obviously runs out and then runs down into the spark plug, and this can also cause a misfire.
That's strange, huh?
Yeah.
So how come it's not smoking?
It won't smoke because it's not going into the chamber.
Oh, okay.
You can also see the seals, they go hard
As time goes.
They go flat.
Plus they're thin.
Yeah. So, you know, it doesn't do its job anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why. Now you guys know.
Alright, let's get these cams out. Alright, intake camshaft.
How are we looking at that so far?
Still looks good. Slight bit of discoloration, yeah, but that's not too bad. We don't have any deep scoring or, you know, deformation of the lobes on the side. So yeah, as I said, a little bit of discoloration here and there.
It's due to heat or something maybe.
Heat,
Or
but also 80,000 on this bike.
yeah, makes sense.
You know, you're gonna see a little bit of wear and tear for sure.
Right.
And your exhaust cam.
So that was the inlet. This the
This is the
outlet.
exhaust. Yeah.
Okay.
In and out.
Yeah.
That little guy there is obviously the pickup for the cam sensor. And well, there is definitely wear on it, but not that bad. Give them a good polish and then take it from there.
Should be rocking again.
Yeah. So these are basically those little gears that we spoke about.
Yes.
The kit that you get from BMW.
Yeah, that's what.
So you change the gears, timing chain, all of that comes together.
Yeah.
Let's get the shims out. Boy. So these little fingers over here, you will also inspect them for wear.
For wear as well, yeah.
Just get a rag. Because this is now where the cam lobes run on.
So when doing valve clearance, that's exactly where you check those shims over there.
Yeah, so basically when you're doing valve clearance, you are checking the distance between that shim and that follower,
Makes
obviously with the cam
sense.
that's on there.
Yeah, attached to it.
Lobe to the top so that the pressure is off it, and then that's the distance that you measure. And then when you need to change them, you'll take your measurement, you'll take a micrometer, measure it. Sometimes they've got like a little number on them giving you an indication of the thickness of the shim, but in this case it's clearly worn off
completely.
And so I'll take the micrometer, we'll measure this, see what this is, take down the measurement of what we had in there, do a calculation, and then to reach the certain specification we change the thickness of this shim.
Makes sense. So which nuts? That's
So these are the cylinder head stretch bolts that we're taking out now.
Then when taking those out, do you have to take them out in a certain sequence, like you know when you're tightening the tire? Or
look, I always it's just habit, I guess. It doesn't really matter taking them out, but definitely putting back, there is a specific torque sequence that you need to go in. But removing it, I do follow that sequence coming out. I always start in the middle and then work my way out. It's just habits.
Okay, great, even better that way. And then why do you think RRs are so popular in South Africa?
Yo, I don't know, hey? I don't know. Maybe because of the BMW badge that's on it.
Right?
Yeah.
I honestly think it's because of that pop, the whole popping sound, because no other bike before, well, pre-2009, I think that's when the RR came out. Yeah, no other bike had that loud bang or even that low grunt and then the exhaust
especially
pipe.
if you change the headers and the,
right?
or the slip on. And
it just
the minute you're in like high revs and you smack that quick change and it just goes. Bah! You heard that back then, it's like you knew that was an R.
I honestly believe that's one of the major reasons why. But those first gen S1Ks, I know they were strong, but they also X'd a lot of people, huh?
Yeah, man, they did.
I think they were too aggressive and like overly powered and
very unforgiving, eh?
Oy.
Very unforgiving, bro. There's like very little room for error there.
And it makes sense now why they have got all these rider aids now on these bikes, because I think they're just trying to keep their clients alive, you know?
Yes.
It's really hard to sell to dead. It's really hard to sell in the graveyard.
Yeah, that is true.
I really do think that's why. They're still trying to keep the power, but just... And they're doing a good job. I mean, for some that came... I mean, the K6 1000 came... I mean, Suzuki's been making bikes since from the 80s or 70s or something. But the tech that BMW just initially just came out with was just like mind-boggling. You know what?
In terms of technology, BMW is definitely ahead of its game.
Right.
Sure.
I think with the market, I think they just hit on that thing of making the best eco-friendly bike that a brand new rider, even though I do not recommend a brand new rider S1K, but that can still hop on and still be relatively safe. And a track guy or a speed junkie can still hop onto the same bike and still do insane numbers on. I think that's what they try to get like a synergy with.
Yeah, they try to strike that balance, you know, between reliability, safety, performance,
comfort, and all these other things.
But also, what happened to the good old days where we were riding superbikes without ABS, without traction control, and I mean, if you ran out of talent, that was your fault. You know what I mean?
I still say a brand new rider should get on maybe a Gixxer 600 or Gixxer 750, 2006, 2007 maybe. Those old ones, those don't got all these things, you know. That's obviously learning how to ride properly, proficiently.
I think so, yeah.
Then get onto that. No quick shifter, no auto blipper, no traction control, It's just you and the Brony. Then after that, that's when you can flex up to all these other ones, I think.
Crashed my bike because the ABS didn't work. No, you didn't. You ran out of talent, bro. Alright, we're almost out here.
Oh, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant. I still say, you know, I'm happy that to a point I understand a bike to where this goes there and that goes there. Even though I know more theoretical than practical, but that will change soon. But imagine if I did not know anything on how to fix a bike, on how to change this is supposed to go where, this is supposed to go where, and then let's say you rely on a technician completely to be able to do all that stuff for you. Imagine if you found a technician that does not have your best interest at heart. Imagine you found a technician that's just in it just to screw you over. You understand? There's so many things that you can do you in for. That's why I completely trust Dino, because if it wasn't for him, some of these other guys, some of these scammers out here, it would have been an issue. They would have stripped my bike, take out old parts and take out the same parts and replace same parts with the same parts, and strip off other people's bike, whatnot. That's why it's really important for you to get a reliable technician that you trust and who also knows his job, I say. Yeah, we're watching out for you scammers. Now you can see where you need to take a Brony if you need like expert help on it. You know where to go. And you know what, if you don't come here and you're still struggling on your Brony, I think you deserve to walk.
Better than anything else.
Completely.
I mean, well, actually, because ETV is independent, right?
Oh. Mutura.
How you can identify a stretch bolt is a lot of the times the washer can't come off of a stretch bolt. In this case it can, but you'll see that the thread only goes up to a certain point over here, and it's sort of bare over there. There's no thread. So when you are tightening it, okay, the thread is the tightening, so that's your Newton meters or your torque. So for this RR it's 20 Newton meters, which is pretty soft. And then when you do your 90-degree turn, the part that stretches is the part that doesn't have the thread on it here.
Right there. So
that's what stretches out. And now if you don't replace these bolts and you put this in and you can still tighten it, yes. But if you do the specified torque, which is 20 Newton meters, 90 degrees and then 90 degrees again, you stand a very good chance of it snapping and breaking off.
And we do not need that. So now I think you guys see and understand why some bikers have such a huge issue when you start revving their bike for no apparent reason. Or now you see, I think now you see why some bikers don't even want you to ride their bike. You see all the work that goes into this, and it's expensive as well. Do your job. What are you doing? You just came here to look pretty. Yeah. Oh, it's a bit hard to get to them.
Everything is loose. We should be able to just crack this head now.
Oh!
There we go. It's these edges
that have been chowed down
that we're going to be looking at now. So when we go into engineering and they remove these valves out, these edges have gone sharp. I saw that when it was still in and the cam was pressing it down.
Right.
So it begins to lose its edge because it's got to get cut at a certain degree.
Yeah.
And once it starts to go sharp, then it loses its capability of sealing. Some of it still looks all right. You can see that, like for this one, for example, you can see that the edge of the valve over here is sitting really, really close to there.
Sure.
Whereas if we look at the exhaust side, the distance is a little bit bigger. So this must not be flush or even close to flush with the cylinder head. There needs to be a
gap.
Let's have a look at your pistons.
So it's sitting. So that's obviously the head gasket, right?
But sure, it's worn down, man.
Harder.
A lot of heat, bro. A lot of heat.
Oh shit.
Like here's another RR's gasket.
We can see the difference.
Yours is really taking a beating. Still doing its job, but it's taking a beating.
Right. So when it was pulled out, it was at least supposed to look something like this, plus minus. But you can see this, even the sealant is on there. Oh, it probably stayed on there or something. Okay. Yeah. So. You feeling for play?
Yeah. Let's turn the motor, get the other two pistons up. That's still good.
So what are you feeling for there?
So basically I want to feel for the end play on the rods to see if there's any on the small end side of the conrod. Check if there's any play of the piston going up and down.
Okay.
See if there's any play of the conrod going to the crank. So for example, piston comes up now, and if you press it and it goes down, bang, then you know that there's
Some.
play. And we need to take the motor out, take the conrod out, and strip.
Okay.
There's a tiny bit of play like this, but this is absolutely normal. That's basically your tolerance or your room
Yeah.
for it to expand when it gets hot.
Okay.
But other than that, it feels good. But yeah, we'll clean all of this up, get these nice and shiny again.
You know how it is.
Get building, baby, get building.
Ooh.
So basically that's the edge that starts to go sharp.
That's the edge you're talking about. Yeah. So it looks as if it is not. Oh, so that's getting a little too flattened out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then what happens is this starts to flatten out, and then it actually sharpens it out completely.
And that's where you get the leaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're struggling with. So that's just an example.
But this is totally stuffed. So that angle over there versus that angle over there, there's a specific degree and surface area that
Yeah.
needs to be cut at.
Yeah.
And what happens is the more that the valve begins to recede in the head, this silver part over here becomes bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yes.
and the valve starts to go sharp, and then that's where it loses pressure.
Your compression. Yeah.
Thick,
If
and then
you.
it goes to thin.
Okay.
So it thickens out and then it thins out. So that means it's seating unevenly.